This episode of XIV Reborn is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, all you got to do is go on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. Go, 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 giddy go, go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to XIV Reborn, episode 13 for October 22nd, 2013. I'm Gary, you're watching Gamebreaker TV. Coming up on today's show, we got live letter 9. It's in the bag. It was long, and we got lots of words. Yoshi P gets named to a new committee, and All Saints Wake is live, so we're going to review that shiz. All right, but coming up first, you know, Mr. Happy, Michael Poveromo. What's up, sir?
Doing good. How about you, Gary?
Good. How's Jersey doing? I haven't checked in about Jersey with you in quite some time. How's it doing? Is it okay?
Jersey's Jersey. It's still, everybody hates it pretty much. Nothing's changed about
really?
that. I don't think anyone's gotten over the shore yet. I think that's still a stereotype here.
I might be wrong, but isn't Total Biscuit living in Jersey now?
I don't know. I've been following his news, but not his living. So
Chat room
is,
tell me.
I'd love to shake his hand.
I feel like he mentioned that. Is he living in Jersey? Because damn, well, Mike and I are from Jersey, but what an armpit to pick to live in. Seriously?
Well, I mean, look where it's located.
Chad,
in the United
Chad
States.
is saying North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's a little bit better. Yeah,
That makes sense.
that makes more sense. You can buy some guns. Mr. Byrne, how are you, sir?
I'm well, sir, and Chad has it right. East Coast, best coast. Thank you very much.
I don't know if I'm going to agree with that anymore. I'm from the East Coast. I don't agree. I don't agree.
I don't think
I don't
anybody
agree.
likes where they grew
That's
up.
because you moved away and got tainted.
I just hate the
I mean,
winter. Well, I hate
but
winter
really,
and I
don't-
hate cancer. I don't really like cancer so much, and Jersey is just pretty much like a state of cancer. It's just like, just factories, you just smell weird things in the air at all times. People say, oh, it's a perfume factory. Yeah, it's a cancer factory. It's more like it.
I know all too well.
You know what I'm talking
Hey.
about, right?
I'm in
Just-
Steel City, man. For the longest time, you couldn't breathe outside. Like, you went out there and it was just hold your breath and get where you needed to go, open the door and breathe again. Finally, it's starting to be a little blue sky around here.
I had 2 perfume companies blow up within blocks of my house growing up as a kid. I'm done for. I got a couple years left. I'm done. I'm gonna be like a clicker.
All right, I'll come join you on the West Coast, Gary.
I figure at least if I'm gonna have a couple years left, I might not have some. And I shouldn't even say clean air because I practically live in the valley, which is like
Don't do
worse. I need to
It's
move. Yeah.
as bad as you could possibly get. You were like, let's see. I am not quite the worst here in Jersey. Where should I move? Let's go to LA. Let's
Go to LA where the smog just makes
hate
the
air.
beautiful sunsets. You know that's why the beautiful sunsets are here. Most people don't realize they're like, oh my god, the sunsets are so beautiful in Los Angeles. That's because it's smog. It's the light rays being like it really is. That's why you get all those crazy colors and stuff. It's not just because it's like sun.
Colors don't.
Colors. You'll be saying that when your poop is purple and orange. Forget it. Living in Jersey for so long.
Could be for all I know.
Probably is.
Wait,
All right,
that's
let's
a
talk
segue.
about
Let's go from
Doug.
purple poop to live letter.
that's it. Live letter 9, 2.5 hours. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I had time for that.
So
Ain't
did
nobody
I.
got time for that. You gotta watch the show. We'll break it down. 2.5 hours for a freaking live letter. Seriously? Can't we get Cliff Notes or something? Like a 15-minute version? Maybe we
That's
should.
what this show's for.
Well, this
Yeah.
show's an hour
There you
itself, so we're gonna spend an hour.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's less than half. We're saving you time already.
here we
There you
go. So yeah, it's kind of obvious that we're gonna spend a lot of time today on the live letter because it was so long. A lot of information in here to talk about, and a few things that maybe we weren't supposed to be talking about. Maybe a few things that shouldn't have been revealed but were. So we'll talk about that. We'll get to that later. So this is actually the first live letter since the game has been launched. Bern? What's your overall feeling so far in the live letter? I mean, what do you think? Do you like this as much as previous letters? I mean, should they keep doing this? Do you enjoy them?
I do enjoy the live letter, and when the game launched, or right before launch, and Yoshi P was asked if he was going to continue doing the live letters once the game was launched, and he said yes, I was really happy. I liked the format. I think they used it to drop like nuggets of great information when people weren't expecting it as we built up to launch. After watching this one, I have a kind of a little bit of a question mark. I still enjoyed this one, but I didn't think it was as live lettery as the other live letteries. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that
What is live lettery?
They addressed topics that people asked about, but they didn't actually answer questions that people were asking, which is what the previous live letters were. So where the previous live letters would be, Gary, what about this specific feature in housing? How's it going to work in conjunction with this and this and this and this? A very specific question. This live letter more became, oh, there was a hashtag housing in that question. Let's grab that and talk about housing in general.
But is that could you cut them some slack though, and maybe they're doing that because they've got so much info and they're like, these are really big ideas right now as far as like information they need to get out, and then once housing is out, we'll actually get more granular and start taking more specific questions about the housing.
I'd love to give them that pass, but man, they just beat housing to death in this one. I mean,
Seriously.
it was beat down in this one, and there was nothing really new besides some footage that we hadn't seen before, which was cool. You know, they definitely should have done that, but I just felt like this was more a marketing tool almost now than a service to the community. And that's not that I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it. I'll watch the next one in mid-November. I just thought it pointed to a different aim this time, I think.
So P, what do you think? Bern obviously hates it and thinks that they softballed the entire thing and they should cancel it.
My first day back and you're going to start with me already. Damn it! That is not what I said.
It's a marketing ploy. They're just totally screwing the community and they're softballing it. They're not answering any real questions.
All words directly out of Mr. Byrne's mouth.
So Square Enix is back to the old Square Enix that we all hate. That's what he said.
I said none of this.
That's pretty much what you just said.
On the record, none of it.
We have the tape. But, yeah, I wasn't a fan of the first half of it. The first half of it was more in the format that Mr. Byrne said it was, where it was just like, regarding this, bunch of general statements, there you go. It wasn't like, oh, what's going to be different about the extreme mode fights? Can you give us any hints about that? Which are more the questions we would see in previous live letters. And then they had the Theatrhythm guy come in and basically just had Yoshi P play Theatrhythm, which had nothing to do with Final Fantasy XIV. Although it was pretty funny to see, I'm not going to lie, watching Yoshi P scream at the game like he was 14 years old. But even the housing part, I couldn't really tell that those were questions that they picked as much as just general ideas that they wanted to cover, price and location and how many houses there would be, things that, I think we almost had a pretty good idea of already. I did enjoy seeing the new zones. That was my first time, or at least getting a really good look at Ul'dah and Gridania, just concept art pretty much previously. But I was hoping, even though they said housing was going to be a big point, that they would have delved a little bit more into other things, especially when people are looking for the next real sort of PvE content. And
sure,
I guess you could call it PvE, but it's a different kind.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these type of Q&A things, live letters, we see some other games out there that do sort of they have tried a Q&A once or twice, and it's a slippery slope because I think it's sort of like a word. It's like if you don't keep the community in mind solely 1000% of why you're doing this, you can go down a road that immediately like the community is going to turn on you. So my word advice to Square Enix is everything you put into this thing, question why it's there, and just make this for the community, because you can see that you go off the rails just a little bit 1 week, and Bird absolutely hates you for it, and will never forgive you.
God.
But this will happen. No, but I've seen this happen.
He's your biggest critic.
But we've seen this happen with other games. We've seen other games try and do the Q&A thing, and if they just softball it, if they kind of skirt things a little bit, they don't really ask the questions the community wants. And of course, they're not going to answer every question that everybody wants every single week. But like I said, if you're doing this for the community, right? Like that's the whole reason to do the live letter. Ain't nobody else watching this thing but players. So if you don't come at this with like every ounce of your being to be for the community, of just like every question we answer, everything we do, like that kind of mentality, people are going to call you out for it.
Yeah, and in previous live letters, there have been questions that have been asked. You got the impression that Yoshi P didn't see the questions. You know, that they were picked by somebody, clearly, but that Yoshi P didn't see them because he would get a question, and the answer was, yeah, we really shouldn't talk about that right now. You know, where obviously if he had seen that ahead of time, he would have said, let's put something else there that we can talk about.
That's bad pre-production. Like, somebody needs to look at those and vet those and say, hey, do you have good answers for this? Like, you don't ever want to put people on the spot and be like, hey, Mike Bird, what did you go out and eat today? Well, I didn't eat. Okay, on to the next question.
As fans, we were like, okay, you know, at least you got the impression he's being real. I could talk about this. Oh, okay, yes, I can talk about that, so let's talk about it. And it was in response to our questions, where this one just felt like there was a clear agenda, and we're going to go through the agenda, and then we're going to call it a day. Which, if that's what they want to do going forward, fine, but I think it needs a new banner then. The live letter has a set banner and what the expectation is, and this just wasn't it to me. It was off just a little bit.
So my interpretation of Burn is basically saying it's off the rails, but it's not fully off the rails. You got like one.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
You got one. You know, one of the wheels is off the rails a little bit. You can just put that thing back down for live letter 10, and we'll be okay. All right, well, we got so much to talk about. Let's talk about housing. Is it pretty much? You want to talk about housing? No, let's talk about housing later.
No,
housing's the big part. Let's talk about some other stuff. There's so much to talk about. We'll get some of the other things out of the way. Let's start off with the fact that they've talked about bards. Yoshi P said the bards are too powerful and need a slight nerf. Someone here plays a bard. How do you feel about that? How'd this go over?
Well,
I don't know. Do you agree with this? I mean, maybe you agree? Does bard need a nerf?
The way that they said it needs a nerf, I can agree with. I guess it's
don't be self-centered and trolly.
No. It's their uptime. They said Bard's uptime is a problem. They have 100% uptime on enemies. 100%. No matter what mechanic they're dodging, if you can hit something, you can hit it while you're dodging the mechanic, which pretty much no other job can do their full damage while dodging most of the mechanics. So fair enough. That's where they want to target it. I think they can do that without bringing the class to a grinding halt, and I hope they can do it without bringing the job.
Okay, so then you agree with the nerf, and you even agree with how they're implementing it. It's just you're just sound a little bit scared that they're going to turn the dial too far.
Yeah, because people are already. I mean, bards. Don't get me wrong. Bards do great damage right now. They're not nearly as crazily overpowered as people seem to think they are, especially when you look at maximum potential that they can do. But that's a lot of numbers that we just don't have time for right now. We need a whole nother show just for that one point right there, Gary. And yeah, just one thing. I think this is the only change I think they need to make. Give Heavy Shot a cast time. And that's it. You fix the 100% uptime problem. You didn't cripple the job at all. And it's just going to take some playing adjustments to get used to.
All right, we'll have Burn just laughing.
Oh, I am. Because we were obviously in the same chat room watching as the live letter was live with Reinhardt's translation going live. And so as soon as Yoshi P was like, so this came out of the side of his mouth almost. Because it was just like talking about other class changes and things like that. And then he was like, yeah, by the way, bards are OP. We're going to fix that. Don't worry. It was so like out of the side of his mouth. And chat immediately was like, oh, Mr. Happy's going to be livid. All of chat just knew that it was coming. It was awesome.
I'm calling it. Bard buffs in 2.2.
Nerfs, then buffs. That's how it works.
Yeah.
All right. So while we're on the subject of classes, P brought up the whole warrior versus paladin debate. He acknowledged a difference. He kind of told people, but this was did he actually just tell people to play better? Is that really what he did?
There was a little bit of that in there.
Break it down.
Yeah. I mean, that's the tank that I prefer to play as a warrior because I like to be a rebel. And what he was basically, warriors get a stacking buff called Wrath whenever they're in their primary tanking stance. And it stacks up to 5, and when you use certain abilities, you get 1 stack, and then you have 1 ability every 60 seconds, gives you 5 stacks. Increases your critical hit chance and your healing received. So what most players are doing, the players that he's mainly speaking to, is instead of keeping that 15% cure potency increase over a period of time and using the stacks when they need to, people are just using the stacks as soon as they get them, so they're getting 15% less healing the entire time. That's what he was talking about when he was telling people to play better. And I can't disagree. That's what I do, is I just leave them up until I need to use one of those abilities.
But he also talked about that, yes, in addition to this play better, which he kind of felt like people weren't playing it the way they were supposed to, that there is something they do need to address, because there is a clear difference between Paladin and Warrior, specifically on turn 4 of Coil, where there's a stacking buff that when it gets to a certain point, the tank should not be able to survive. And Paladin tanks were able to survive, while Warrior tanks were not. So it exposed a difference in the way the classes work. So on that side, there is a small tweak that that he did acknowledge they're going to mess with. And they're going to make about a total of 7 changes, was the estimated number he gave for the Warrior class, specifically because of this survivability thing, and players maybe not playing quite the way the character is designed.
How many people are shaking in their boots right now with that number?
You know, I made a video about the changes I'd like to see in a warrior for progression's sake. Once they already have gear, I think right now they perform fine, but for progression's sake, I actually made, and I believe it was 7 issues long. It was weird for me. Just a few things with Wrath and the stun. They have one completely useless ability that nobody uses. There's never a good time to use it. So they definitely need to do some things. Just need to be more. What's the word I'm looking for? They need to work together better. The abilities. They're too independent of each other right now, despite all the Wrath integration.
So the Dragoons also got a little bit of chatter time. Seems like a lot of players wanted the jump ability. They have to make them invincible in the air, but apparently that ain't gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen.
Immediately, 2 Paladins, 4 Dragoons, a White Mage and a Scholar. There you go. Easiest 8-mans I've ever had.
Yeah, and this was mostly in. I guess there must have been direct questions that they were referencing, but mostly in regards to the Titan hard mode fight, in particular the landslide ability that can knock somebody back and off the platform to their death. Well, when a Dragoon jumps, they were still susceptible to this landslide, even though it's a ground-based attack, so they would jump in the air and still get knocked back and fall off the platform. So that was like the one example area where Yoshi P pointed out, it makes sense, should we make you invincible? But no, we're not going to do it. But the best part of this whole discussion, which, okay, I agree with the Dragoons should not be invincible when jumping. Maybe their animation should be a little shorter, but that's okay, fine, different discussion. The best part of this whole thing, Gary, was when he was like, oh, by the way, while we're talking about Titan hard mode here, you guys really should be zooming your camera out. I'm sick of people complaining about how hard this is. He was like,
he did say that.
He's like, all right, you guys suck.
Really zoom
you don't know how to play.
Out,
you don't know how to position your camera. You're just doing it wrong.
But it's doing it wrong. He's never even done Titan hard mode. He's still doing the story.
It was so funny. It was just like, this is going to be, and I was excited now. This is only like 10 minutes into the letter, and he's already called players out 2 or 3 times. Later, he even references a couple times about, oh, this is a topic that once it happens in the game, everybody starts calling me out. So he just turned it right back around and started calling players out a couple of times. You could tell they were having fun at least, so kudos for that.
The Learn to Play Live Letter 9.
Oh, yeah.
Going back to Dragoon jumps for a second, another thing is they take so long to execute that you have abilities sitting waiting to be used while you're in the jump animation, so you can't actually hit any of your other abilities for like half of a second after you land. So it's also taking away from your ability to do other abilities, basically. So
yeah,
shorten that jump timer.
Exactly. That's why I said don't make them invincible. Shorten the jump timer or the jump animation itself, and you're fine. And that probably will be done, because he did mention that they were going to make small tweaks to almost every class, but warriors were going to be the big ones. Bards getting a nerf was going to be a big one, and then every other class was just going to get touched very briefly.
I don't know why I didn't know this. Were you guys aware of the copy pasta quest? I didn't get that one.
That required me to read.
I didn't know that one. You know the whole copy pasta thing back in Mike B, part of Game Breaker, now it's Zam,
yes.
And he made the copy pasta video.
That's probably my favorite BFF report ever.
And then
big fan of Mike B's work, and that
video created so many ripples and waves amongst the Square Enix people that apparently I didn't know that there was I just found out this week there's a copy pasta quest in the game.
Oh, see, I remember that video where he referenced like 14 different areas, all with the same, like exact same path going up the hill and then back down the hill.
That montage that's like 2 minutes long towards the end of that BFF report is amazing.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was a nice little nod. Just found that out. They put it in there. All right.
Sharknado is also in there.
Oh, so yes.
We're talking high-level stuff now for Mike B.
Sharknado.
He's up there with Sharknado, I guess.
I want to talk about some more of these topics we got going on with 2.1 and Live Letter, Learn to Play, Live Letter 9, all this good stuff. But first, I want to tell you guys about Shutterstock. If you guys have a YouTube channel, guild website, or a personal website, you have to check out Shutterstock. I can't tell you enough how much we use Shutterstock here at GameBreaker.tv. Every single day, there's something being created. Working on websites, YouTube pages, all that kind of stuff, and we use Shutterstock for all of our artwork needs. I want to save you guys 25% off on your account. All you got to do is make sure to use GameBreaker10 as your promo code. Many of you guys have heard us talking about the GameBreaker Nation. By the way, the website is up. It is up. It is up. It is up. I'm kind of soft launching it, not making a big deal about it, but it's up. It is up. It is up. You can go to it. www.GameBreakerNation.com is live, and you could apply to the Gamebreaker Nation, our cross-gaming guild, right now. But we were looking at logos, and we wanted to come up with something. And we kind of came up with a bunch of different versions of our logo. We were looking at all kinds of stuff, but just check out some of this stuff. So we just typed in like heraldry. This is actually our light box. I saved a bunch of stuff, but if you have a guild website, like all of this artwork, really, really great, like silhouette kind of stuff you could use on your website and things like that. Just make a header banner, maybe for YouTube, things like that. And it takes no time at all. Start searching for stuff, finding it, putting it together, seeing what kind of inspires you to get your website, your guild website, your YouTube page to the next level. It would be great for logos. I love some of these lions and stuff. And the other cool thing, they've got different price points for all of you out there. So there's month, you can sign up for a month and download X number of images per month. That's what we use here at GameBreaker. Or there's even lesser packages there. I think it starts at like $29 to download a few images. And right now, I want to save you guys 25% off on your account. I love when I get tweets. For you guys out there also who use Shutterstock, please tweet me and link me when you use it. I love when people tweet and be like, oh my God, I finally broke down. I checked out Shutterstock. It's amazing. Look at my new website, and it looks awesome. So tweet at me, bro. Just want to save you guys 25% off. Just use GameBreaker10 as your code. You don't even need to sign up today. You can make a free account, start looking through all the artwork, vectors, video clips, stock photography, everything they got there, and create a light box, start collecting your ideas and things like that. And when you're ready to purchase, just make sure to use the promo code GameBreaker10, and you will immediately save 25% off on your Shutterstock account. Support Gamebreaker by supporting our sponsors, and that is Shutterstock. All right, so next up, let's move on to some other topics here. So 2.1 wasn't really a huge focus of the live letter. Some items were mentioned really quickly, like the party menu board. We've talked about that a little bit in the past. The random dungeon queue, the duty finder, and the MVP system. Burn, I think you're a big, huge fan of all of these, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Were you looking for more information? Were you kind of bummed that you didn't get a lot more
I
info?
didn't expect much more on the MVP system. I mean, it's besides maybe what they're gonna give as rewards, and I was pretty sure they weren't gonna show that. The random dungeon in the duty finder thing, we already knew what that was gonna do, and it was gonna be a tombstones reward for running that. That's a win-win for brand new players and level 50s, I think. So I'm a big fan there. They did go into a little more detail with the party menu thing and talk about some of the advanced features of it, where you could put different notes in there so that you could let people know, hey, I'm not only my advertising for this party, but it's also practice runs, so, or we want to watch all the cutscenes. So that type of stuff, you could put in additional details like that. And then if you're a fan of building parties within your server, obviously this is a great way to do it too. So big fan of all three of these. I think they covered them as much as they're probably going to before launch, with the exception of the MVP system and the actual rewards. So kudos. Good job.
So the remainder of the first half of the live letter, is this where you guys really started to feel it fall off a little bit? I mean, it seemed like that's where like the canned replies about like RMT and cheating and not much really to report. Basically, the answers were kind of like, hey, we're doing stuff, we're doing everything we can, but no real meat or substance there. Is that where you were just kind of like?
I think it was even up to this point. It just, because all the questions were just like, regarding this, we'll say this. Even up to this point, they were already doing that. So at this point, it's just continuing, and now it's just not even real answers to the questions.
Yeah, just avoid if you don't have a good answer, I would say avoid it. Because if you don't even like bring it up as a topic, people will be like, damn, I wish they talked about this. But they also can't call you out for like, well, they did bring it up and they didn't give us an answer. Like, that's worse. Like, just avoid it. Just go dark for a little while and come back when you can talk about it. That's my motto. Anyway. But intermission is where it got a bit exciting, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Strangely, it was almost the most exciting part, minus hearing about the part.
Intermission.
Ba-pow! Look at that beast.
So, the slideshow that aired during the break, I guess it had a few special slides in there that teased some upcoming veteran rewards. And yep, that's a Behemoth mount.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what we don't know, unless, as far as I know, we don't know how long you'll have to sub for this. Were either of you guys just ready to pay for this up front as soon as you saw it, though? Just buy it, put it in the shop, I'll buy it. Anything else, please, just give me this.
I hope they wait 3 months so I can actually pay for the next however many days I need to.
If they would have come back after the break and been like, this is the 2-year veteran reward, I would have been buying game time.
2 years right here. Boom, done. Prepaid 2 years, get this.
I like the armband.
How about this one? Hello. These have to be minions, right?
Yeah. Unless they're more earrings, which I don't want to imagine anymore.
No, don't give me any more freaking jewelry, but I love these little guys as minions, especially, of course, that black mage. Gary, I am dressing up as that black mage for Halloween. The classic black mage outfit.
Classic black mage outfit, Mike Byrne. Yep. You gonna bring pictures?
You know what? You know, there is a show prior to Halloween.
Oh.
Maybe I could bring that hat. Would you mind?
Maybe. No, I would absolutely encourage that.
All right.
I would encourage that. All right, let's speculate a minute. So, Mr. P, how long do you think we'll have to sub for each of these two rewards? What do you think?
I think 180.
180?
I mean, what are they gonna? They're gonna jump from like 90 to 270. I just don't see that happening.
That seems kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't see them doing 120 either, just because of the way that the subs are set up now. It's 30, 60, 90, 180. Plus there are 120 and 150s that I don't know about, but that just makes sense to be the next step to get people to go the extra mile and buy this X amount of time for this much money. So that's really when we're going to start seeing how loyal people are to the game at that point. It's the 6-month purchase time. Also, in relation to those 3 minions, I have a feeling you're going to get a coupon and you're only going to get to pick one.
Yep.
I have a strong feeling that you're only going to get to pick one, which I like because it sort of differentiates people on how they what kind of veteran rewards they want.
I have no idea which one Mike Byrne will pick. But before I ask Mike Byrne what he thinks on how long you have to sub, I'm going to say Saturday. So, Byrne, what do you think?
Saturday. Got it.
This will happen on a Saturday, mark Gannon's words. I agree with 6 months, but I think only one of these is 6 months. I would not be surprised if the Behemoth mount is 1 year. And in fact, I'm kind of hoping that it's 1 year.
Really? You think they're going to hold off that long?
Which means they probably will make it a lot sooner. But I would love to see the Behemoth mount the 1 year target.
I feel like that's just too far off. I feel like that's just...
I don't like a veterans reward program that awards everybody every single month for paying their sub. You
like carrots on a stick. You like loot.
Yeah, you're right. I like loot and things like that, but it's what is special about the game anymore if everybody is getting the same things. I like the idea of the minions choosing one. Pick the one you want. Great, a little bit of flavor there. I like the idea of things becoming actual veterans rewards. Most veterans rewards program guys, believe it or not, there isn't a $30-day prize, nor is there a 60-day prize in most cases. It's nice that they've given these things to start things off because they needed a lot of cash up front.
MMO companies' next step is like every day you log in, here's a prize.
Rift is already doing that.
Oh,
dailies?
Yeah. They went free to play, and you log in, you get a free gift every day that's got a chance of being something awesome or something not.
I didn't even realize they went to daily. That's crazy.
I love the Veterans Rewards program. I want to see it as a rewards program. 6 months and give me the Behemoth mount and 1 year. There you go. But of course, I think they're going to go with the way you're lining things up, Gary, and everything's going to be much sooner. That's just my wishing.
Saturday. All right, second part of the live letter was really all about yes, housing. So they kind of mixed in some small questions, but free company housing got most of the time here on the live letter. So free company housing is still slated for patch 2.1. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So far.
So first up, each instance holds about 30 plots of land for housing, and the only requirements for housing is that your free company have a particular rank and the cash to buy the plot and the house. So for off the bat, we don't know, but are we all assuming that rank 5 is the requirement here, or do you think they'll actually offer something earlier?
I think if it's not rank 5, it's a whole new rank. If anything, it's gonna be one or the two, because hitting rank 5 is pretty easy, and I don't know about anybody else, but my free company's amounted 1.2 million free company credits with nowhere near anything to spend them on. So hopefully they can make it a higher rank and use those company credits for something housing related. I would like to see both of those things be implemented. Start progressing towards higher ranks and using more of the credits.
Do we have any cost confirmed? Because I know Byrne, I know you wrote up on your write-up like some numbers and stuff like that. Like, do we have any data?
Oh, and now we get into things we maybe should not have seen in the live letter. And this is all, of course, like, it's in development, so of course it could all change. And they did not confirm exactly. They did not confirm costs of anything. Yoshi P said we're not giving away costs. But as soon as this moment happened, chat noticed. In Reinhardt's chat. And it wasn't 2 guys or 3 guys that noticed. It was most of chat noticed. In the demo they gave, a Yoshi P's character had a billion gil, and they had a plot of land already, and they dropped a medium-sized house on that land, and the gil change took place in the lower right-hand corner of the screen as if he had bought something. And it took a little over 150,000 gil.
I thought it was 850,000.
I didn't say that? 850?
I thought I heard 100.
Did I say 100? Oh, that's totally not what I meant. 850. That's me being loopy and still a little sick here. 850,000 gil.
And that was for what size? Was it you say mediums? That's a medium.
That was a medium?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was about housing. I just I zoned out a little bit at that part.
Well, there's your money sink right there, Mr. P. You know, you want to buy something? There you go. Medium 850. That kind of that's gonna bump you guys down a little. It's gonna hurt a little bit in the wallet.
If you think that's a sink, you got another thing coming for Legacy.
That seems about right for a single person house. I would have thought that the free company house would have been more expensive than that, actually, regardless of size, whether it's small, medium, large, doesn't matter. I would have thought the free company house probably would have been more than that. 850,000, to be honest, is not a lot of money to come up with among a free company. It's not a lot of money to come up with among just a few players if they know what they're doing.
Do you think there's going to be an upkeep cost? Do you think there's going to be
not.
No.
Yoshi P did confirm that they weren't going to do any of that UO upkeep stuff. They weren't going to mess with that. They thought about it, but no. So I wouldn't be surprised if this price changes. It was just a cool little thing that we saw there that was like, hey, you plopped down a house. It was 850K out of your gil. I wouldn't be surprised if it changed.
All right, P, I know you fell asleep, but so out of the housing areas, which city did you actually like the best?
I had a tough time choosing. I mean, it's hard to just not want a beachside giant mansion house in Limsa Lominsa. But I really liked the view in Ulda as well, even though it's sort of more of a rocky terrain. So I'm sort of torn, but I don't own my free company, so it doesn't matter which one I like, because I'm not going to get to pick my house. I'm just going to I'm going to weigh in with my vote, and that's it. But I'm voting for Limsa, to be honest.
What about you, Bernsey?
Oh, it's all about Gridania.
I knew
you
really? My heart is in Limsa Lominsa. It really is. But when I saw Ulda, I was like, damn, is that good? And I'd already seen Limsa. I loved it. Ulda popped up, and I was like, that makes me want to leave Limsa, even though I love Limsa. Then Gridania popped up, and it was all about Gridania. And I'm going to fish in my neighbor's ponds and take all their stuff. It's going to be awesome.
All right, turn into a griefer to take all their stuff. So we got to see what? Small, medium, large housing. We got to see all that. Holy shit, large housing? It's pretty damn large.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
I mean, multiple floors, tons of decorations, the basement workshops where your free company could build airships. Seriously, building airships?
That, is alluded to on 9 different things over the course of the last couple of months, and we still have no more information about it today than we did when it was first leaked.
Yeah, pretty much.
It sounds pretty incredible. Mini card games in your free company house to pass the time. I mean, they're doing a lot of really cool stuff with housing. I mean, this is going to be...
that last one's like a maybe thing that Yoshi P wants to put in, but they're really thinking about all those little side item things. And yes, chat, I do know that you have to buy the plot of land. We were talking about when the building was plopped down. Plot of land, by the way, those will be sold via auction. They will start at the same price, undisclosed price, on each world, and they will generally work their way down in price until somebody buys them. That's the way the plot will work. But then the house itself was the 850K that we were talking about. Chat.
Oh man. I have a quick question. I could have swore back at 1.0 they were still saying we were going to get to build airships. I remember that being a detail even then. So this has been around for 3 years now. We've been being told we're going to get to build an airship. When is this? When it actually comes, I'll believe it.
It's supposed to talk about a lot of. It's going to take a lot of crafters to build it, Gary. You're going to have to work together. It's going to take time to build this thing. But then they also, Yoshi P alluded to, he wants to do content with it as well, as far as do something, in your guild airship or your free company airship. Although he did acknowledge that probably won't be until like right before the expansion. We're way, way away from anything like that. Airship battles. Oh, there you go.
I love this stuff. Burn, you already know. I love crafting. I love when crafters actually have a purpose in the game.
This was all you coming up.
Yeah. So here was a question that they got thrown at them. They said, could you explain exactly how gatherers or will gatherers and crafters impact the interior and exterior of a house? And the answer that came back was 85% of the housing will be a result of gatherers gathering materials and crafters crafting them. We will be getting all gathering and crafting classes involved. And that's awesome. So like pretty much going to make it a requirement, I think, to have like gatherers and crafters maxed out in all classes throughout your free company. So get to work. Get to work. I mean, what do you guys think?
When I was watching that and that went down, I was like, "Ooh, that's all Ganon right there."
I mean, do you guys think this is too much on
stuff.
gathering and crafting? Well, I'm not a big crafter, but I like the fact that like I know some people just want to dedicate. They like that part of the game. They want to do that. Small portion. I think it's roughly usually around 15 to 20% of the player base are in that zone, but it's still, they enjoy it and they just want to do that. And this kind of really speaks to that type of player. So I don't know. Do you guys think it relies too much on gathering and crafting?
No, not at all. I mean, what else do gatherers and crafters really have to do other than just make like some high item level stuff right now? They don't have anything to do. They need another outlet, and this is a nice direction to be able to take when you hit max level on a craft or a gathering job. Not to mention the other 15%, some of it's going to be just picking pieces for the outside of your house, not necessarily crafting them, and the occasional battle class going out to farm a rare item from a monster in order to craft something. So I think it's fair considering it's a house. I'm not going to go monk and punch it into a good condition. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not a fan of crafting that's like garbage throwaway crafting. Here, make 30 of these, vendor them, move on to the next thing. It's just lame. So
the last thing we needed was an expensive gill sink added to the game too. So it's a smart decision on that side of the equation as well.
A couple other last minute like housing things, like they mentioned something like a jukebox possibility. I think that's going to be maybe a future development, things like that. You talked about you'll be able to farm and fish in the housing instances, so that's confirmed. You'll actually be able to do that. So some more reasons to hang out in those areas. And before the live letter ended, Mr. Housing over here, Yuichi Wada, started showing off some concept art.
This is where Yoshi P lost control.
What's he doing? Just like randomly like pulling stuff up, just like, no, you're not supposed to show that.
It started with Wada-san showing images of items that were housing related. And they were like big lamps that you could hang, and carpets and things like that, and furniture. It was very cool. But he just kept going through these images, and he's like, "Oh, look, I found this one," and he throws it up, and they're like, "Guys, that one was confidential. You really shouldn't."
Kind of says it right on the page. It
said confidential. Oh, sorry. And then he throws this one up, which is the Dragoon AF2 concept art, and you can see Yoshi P in the background there. That he just lost control. Yoshi P was actually saving that image so that he could reveal it.
He's like, man, you stole my confidential artwork.
Yep, it's like he stole my thunder. So not to be outdone, Yoshi P went and showed, what was it, Monk. He showed your Bard AF2, didn't he?
Yeah, pants are still not the same color. We're in the thumbs up from me there. Not that I know anything
pants.
about colors.
And then they struggled to get the damn live letter back onto the topic of housing after all this had happened.
So next live letter scheduled for mid-November. It's going to focus more on patch 2.1 and the 2.1 content, obviously. So be sure to cover that right here. That's right around the corner, right around the time for the lightning fate, isn't it?
Yeah,
pretty
November.
much.
Pretty much, right?
We shall see.
Maybe the weekend after, maybe the weekend before.
I want to talk about this. You see this Final Fantasy quality committee? Did you guys put your resume in for this?
No, I did not apply.
No.
I didn't even know that they were recruiting, or I would have.
All right, I want to tell you guys about that, but first I want to tell you guys about Audible. You guys checked out Audible? You have to check out Audible. I want to hook you guys up with a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. All you got to do is use the URL audible.com/gamebreaker, sign up, make an account, download the iOS device to your iOS or your Android device, whatever you got. They've got them both, and it's audiobooks. Ender's Game is coming out in the theaters. I believe it's this week. Is it this week? Next week? Soon. It's coming out soon. I don't know. But check out Ender's Game, the special 20th anniversary edition, clocking in at 11 hours and 57 minutes. Let's take a listen.
I'm practicing piano, Ender. Come turn the pages for me. Oh, is the monitor boy too busy to help his brother? Is he too smart? Gotta go kill some buggers, astronaut? No, I don't want your help. I can do it on my own, you little bastard, you little third. This won't take long, Andrew, said the doctor. Ender nodded. It's designed to be removed without infection, without damage, but there'll be some tickling, and some people say they have a feeling of something missing. You'll keep looking around for something you were looking for, but you can't find it and you can't remember what it was. So I'll tell you, it's the monitor you're looking for and it isn't there. In a few days, that feeling will pass. The doctor was twisting something at the back of Ender's head. Suddenly, a pain stabbed through him like a needle.
Ouch. Oh, check it out. Ender's Game Special 20th Anniversary Edition on Audible. You can download this as y'all free. Yes, I said free audiobook that we are hooking you up with just for being going to Gamebreaker. It's audible.com/Gamebreaker. Use that URL. Go sign up, make an account, and download Ender's Game tonight. You'll be listening to it. Get ready for the film coming out. I believe that's next week. So support Gamebreaker by supporting our sponsors. And we love having Audible on as a sponsor here. They've got thousands of other audiobooks. Just check it out. Go over to audible.com/Gamebreaker. So according to the FF Reunion, which is a Japanese website, Square Enix gaming site, apparently they've established a Final Fantasy committee. And this is made up of the top dogs in the franchise of Final Fantasy. And Yoshi P did make the list on this committee. So the guys here, I guess this is going to be like a committee of like gatekeepers who are going to sort of ensure the quality of the Final Fantasy franchise. Is that what this is about? Like everything has to flow through them?
Yeah.
Not everything, but I guess the big broad strokes.
I mean, I guess they're just going to huddle in a room and play the game before in its, developed form and critique it. I don't know what else. I don't think they're going to like dedicate each of their own individual teams to like quality test it. I don't know exactly what the committee's going to do, but it's going to have to go through them in the end.
It's a good idea. I mean, I think it's good that you got some people who are really committed to the franchise and really kind of understand it from, So I don't know. Here's the question. Don't flame me for asking. I don't want to cause a riot or anything, but let's look at some of the other people on the list of the heads for the committee. So you've got Yoshinori Kitashi, who worked on multiple Final Fantasy titles since FF6. He's been around a while.
Long timer.
Hajime Tabata, who worked on Crisis Core and Type 0, among some others, and he's currently a part of the Final Fantasy XV team. And And then finally, you've got Motomu Toriyama, who has been around since basically Final Fantasy VII, multiple titles,
Yep.
Final Fantasy FF10, probably most notably. So a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of like names that people.
That's an impressive list.
Yeah.
That is an impressive list of long-time Final Fantasy leadership.
So we all know that Yoshi, who came kind of out of nowhere, didn't have really a big resume, and he's already on this list. So he must have done some kind of made an impact.
Previous to 14, he was Dragon Quest.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even a Final Fantasy guy. So 14 that's it. That's the end of the resume as far as Final Fantasy goes for Yoshi P.
He may not be a bad choice considering that Toriyama is responsible for 13.
Oh, yes! Well done, Mr. Cannon. Well done. Zing.
No.
At least Lightning Returns looks like it's going to be better than the other two. But I said the same thing about 13 too also.
What do you guys think? What's this team actually going to do, though? What do you think? I mean, Square said before that the IP, they're just saying it's such an important IP to Square that they don't ever want a number ever failing. Like, and anyone, it can never fail. That's why they redid 14 and then just let it go away. I don't know. I'm kind of curious to what this team is going to do.
Was the numbered ones was the big deal. It's like, we'll let the side ones go, but if a numbered one fails, we are in a ton of trouble. And I mean, there's certainly a debate on that some people could have, but does Yoshi P have the experience with the brand to be with those other heavy hitters for the franchise? But I think not only is he there because of what he did with 14, like the game or not, the turnaround was a success. And if you view it any other way at this point, then I think you're just kind of being naive. You may not like the game, that's fine. So not only does he earn the spot on those merits, but keep in mind, this is the guy that vocally, in the press, has said some not so nice things about his employer, right? He's said that Square Enix needs to change, and that we took our fans for granted, and not only Final Fantasy, but as a company, we need to adopt new practices and things like that. So I think he's a smart choice for not just having this group maybe look over and make sure that they like the quality of the Final Fantasies, but to kind of guide those development teams in maybe a slightly different thought process as far as how they relate to the community and how the company looks outside to the community. I like him as a choice and hope that's why the direction this committee takes.
How did Tanaka not make it? I just don't understand.
There's a few names missing.
Well, he hit the maximum on his stamina for.
Oh, that's what it was.
For his career. So he's got to wait until it resets.
We should start a petition to get Tanaka on the committee, just for funsies, just to see how off track he can just derail the entire project.
No, he's got to spend another 6 months making one Notorious Monster.
Oh man!
All right, before we head on to viewer questions,
the electronic letter was sent to him, but the UI to get to it was too complicated.
There you go. I like that.
All right, before we go on to viewer questions, last week we talked a little bit about the seasonal events. Let's talk a little bit. I want to before the show closed, we talked about the All Saints Wake that was going to start for Halloween. I'm sure everybody checked it out. We were speculating last week, so now let's chat about the real thing at this point. Burn, is it anything like the Moonfire Fair? One fate, done with the event, done, zilch, zero?
No, there is a little bit more to this one than Moonfire Fair. Granted, not all that much, but a little bit more. There's 3 quests. But you really, once you go in the first quest to all 3 major cities, Quest 2 and Quest 3 are right around the corner from where they're at. So it's not much, but there is a little bit more than just
not much, though. Mr. Happy, does it make you happy? Happy? Mr. Happy?
I like the costumes because they look hilarious because they have little arms that go up in the air, but your real arms are still at your side. So when you're running around, you're running like this. And I think it looks, there you go. I think that just, you got to ride a mount on that thing. It looks hilarious. It looks like, if you stop and point at somebody, it's like, stop in the name of the law.
That's pretty good. That's the Wailing Spirit costume. Looks pretty cool.
Yep.
So you get your Wailing Spirit costume just for doing the quests. But are there other things you can earn besides this?
There's
costumes?
a couple pumpkin heads that you can buy off of a vendor there for, I think it's like 45 or 47 gil each. But they're just heads. They're not full costumes.
Yeah. And completing all the quests, you get a ghost costume that smiles instead of frowns.
Ah. What's going on here?
This event gets to take up a total of 6 armory slots.
Granted, you can at least put the 4 pumpkin heads in your armoire. You just
in the armoire. But not the Wailing Spirit.
No, you can't put the ghost costumes in there, but you can put the 4 pumpkin heads. And that's because those are 1.0 items. Those same pumpkin heads are from 1.0. That's probably why they can go in the armoire.
What's going on here? There's also a screenshot contest going on. What's the deal with that? More of free jewelry? Is that what's going on?
Yep.
But let me just say one thing about that community contest. No one is ever going to get a screenshot with Behemoth like that, ever. They use an example of a guy in a Behemoth helm standing next to Behemoth smiling with his weapon out. That's never going to happen. Same with Odin. That's never going to happen. So, good luck if you're trying to aim for one of those, but I just recommend, I don't know, ghost costumes somewhere. The ghost costumes are cool. I like those ones.
Yeah, you gotta dress up like your favorite monster or NPC in the game and then go take a picture of you next to or with that monster or NPC. It's called the Doppelganger screenshot contest. Although overseas, you guys might have a haiku contest, so check the forums to see which one you guys qualify for.
All righty. Before we get out of here, let's do some viewer questions. If you guys have questions for the XIV Reborn crew, send them to submit@gamebreaker.tv. Also, keep an eye on our Facebook pages, Twitter, all that good stuff on the socials. We ask for them there as well. First up this week, Corey Hernandez wants to know, do you think Square Enix is intentionally trying to create a separate community for hardcore versus casuals with the difficulty of endgame content? If so, will it be catered to more of the casuals, or where will it be more catered to, I guess? More the casuals or the hardcore? What do you think, Mr. Byrne? Are they trying to separate the community?
No, I don't think they're intentionally doing that. I could see kind of where this idea comes from because there is a drastic leap in difficulty from Amdapor Keep to and the hard mode primal fights and then to Binding Coil. But you also have to keep in mind that that's done intentionally because they're going to do update 2.1 that inserts a layer of difficulty and 2.2 which adds to Binding Coil. So they're going to be doing this kind of back and forth. So yes, I can understand where that comes from. There is a pretty big difficulty leap in content, but it's going to be filled and then bounced around in future updates. So no, it's not intentional.
What do you think, P?
I don't think it's really that much separated. What only difference I see between a hardcore and casuals, hardcores will go through it first, and casuals will take their time. But I don't think any of the content is really out of reach of everybody. Once a few videos are out and you see a few explanations of something, if you're not trying to be the first person to do it, you can pick up the fights pretty easily and you can figure out how to do them with whatever job you might have. So that's the only difference to me between hardcore and casual, and how many alts or jobs you want to level up is, again, the only two things.
All right, next up from Dave Quesnell. He wants to know, he says, when do you think they will let us transfer from a legacy server to a non? I want to play with friends and family. P says no.
It's not going to happen for maybe after housing, just because they need more guild syncs on the legacy servers before it's really going to even be remotely possible. There are people who have, even with you can only take a certain amount of gil, which I'm sure is in preparation for those legacy, non-legacy. Just the sheer fact that you can turn your gil into items and then bring the items with you and then sell them on the new market, it just doesn't work. So they need to put other limitations in place to really make sure that it's okay. And also, I don't see a point in putting a restriction on non-legacy going to legacy. So I'm sure that that's the main reason they need to fix specific restrictions between the two. And we probably won't see that for a while.
I'm going to say Saturday. Burn, what do you
Saturday. Say? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
2.2.
Okay.
If I had to put like a time, that would be a 2.2.
Which will drop on a Saturday.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, best patch day.
Yep. Next one up from David Daniel Pardes. He wants our opinion on this. He says, do you think it's acceptable to only have 3 fights for endgame, turn 1, 2, 4? I love turn 4, but we finished raiding within 40 minutes, and there's really no reason to keep trying turn 5 since no one in the world has beat it. I'm still leveling other classes and accumulating money, so that will keep me occupied. What do you think? Is it acceptable?
I think it depends on your definition of the end game. The more hardcore players, yes, we are hitting that point where we're clearing what's actually available to us quickly enough, especially since turn 5's been unavailable for 2 weeks now. And same with him, I clear them about 40 minutes. It seems about the normal time to clear turns 1 through 4 if you're practiced in them. But, I mean, that's only for a certain number of people. There are still people who are learning, Titan and turn 1, 2, and 4. So for us, it doesn't seem like enough, but maybe in the grand scheme of things, for people who are still learning and exploring the other things that you can do in the game, such as the armory system, leveling multiple jobs, getting your crafting up, I think that it fits currently with how many other things, at least new players, can do with what the game's all.
Take Burnsy.
I don't think I have really a right to talk about turn 1, 2, 4, being that I haven't cleared them or done them yet. But I will poke a question to the question that says there's no reason to keep trying turn 5 if no one in the world has beat it. Isn't
What kind of attitude is that?
the reason to try it? Like, I know it's been offline for 2 weeks, so you can't try it. But other than that, like, isn't that the reason to try it? Because nobody's beaten it? Nobody's beaten that? Let me go farm instead.
Oh, we're done. Giving up. Mockingbird, follow him on Twitter at MagicMan, MIGICKMANN1. Don't forget that 1
Yes,
on there,
sir.
of course, right here on XIV Reborn. After Dark for a few more weeks, and of course, this week in MMO on Fridays. You can catch him there. Always a pleasure, sir. Michael Poveromo, aka Mr. Happy. Follow him on Twitter at Mr. Happy1227. Make sure you go over to his YouTube channel and check out all his great content there as well on the XIV. Always a pleasure. And you can follow me at Gary Gannon. I don't know why I said it like Gary again, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to say that or Game Breaker. But you can follow Game Breaker or Gary Gannon. And go to www.gamebreakernation.com. Sign up. Give us a little time. We're working through the application process. We will be sped up over time as we get our systems and stuff in place. But go, go, go. We do the Shah. We do the Shah. We do the Shah. We do the Shah live.
You're again.
We do the Shah live Tuesdays at 4. Now my Christopher Walken's just falling apart. Have a great week. Love you.